health is your own. Health should come from you. Health should spring from you, I want to say. And I think underneath it all, and I don't quite know how to express this the way that I want to, but I very deeply feel that health is simple. Health is simple. Health is practical. Health is obvious. But when you're not in touch with these things and what they mean to you, these other people's heavy opinions about what it means to be healthy are going to outweigh your own. I was thinking about what it means to be health conscious and how, at least in my own experience, I feel like that the term has been not used against me. That's not right. It's not that it's been used against me or even turned against me consciously or anything. What I really feel like is, to be a health conscious person, I tend to think of people who really keep track of what's in every meal, how many calories they're consuming in comparison to how many they're burning in a day, and what sorts of activities they're doing, and how often they go to the gym, how many reps, what sort of, physical activity do they do that they identify with, that becomes a part of their identity. People who left at whatever time and put whatever powder in their drink in the morning, or whatever sort of smoothie with their spinach and whatever else, and their protein powder, and people who only drink hot water or warm water because it's better for you, and cold water is shocking on the system, and all of these things. I just feel like it makes health into dogma, is how it feels, and then people feel that they can't call themselves health conscious people if they're not acting on it in these particular ways, or if they don't want to act on it in these particular ways. I knew someone who was talking about a nutritional plan that she was doing, and when she spoke to her coach, I guess, about, for this meal, whatever, I know it wasn't in the plan, but I put cucumbers and like tomatoes in this instead of this or that or whatever. And her coach scolded her, like, basically just threw it out the window. You shouldn't be doing this, and like, what's even the point? You're not going to meet your goals or whatever and whatever, and if you don't stay true to the plan. And I've never been on that end. I don't know what it's like to be that person, but from something I understand about coaches is that you're not just getting their expertise from them or the accountability of having them work with you. A lot of it has to do with their energy, the energy that they bring to an experience, love that they generate in you for the process of something, for the outcome. And what it means is a great deal of that experience. You see this energy that they give off, and it lifts you up. It's uplifting. And then you can piggyback off of it as motivation and play with how that feels, so that you can learn how to adopt it in your own life in a way that's authentic to you. But that is something that you learn from them, is how to be a certain way, how to embody a certain behavior, a certain energy, a certain attitude toward a certain thing. So when she told me that her coach or trainer, planner, whatever, spoke like this, I was just like floored by it. And she had said, "Oh, really? It's a big deal that I put tomatoes or too much cucumber at the wrong meal at the wrong time or whatever?" She's like, "Because I really wanted to eat a fucking hamburger." And I just thought, like, kudos to you, because I feel like that speaks on so many levels, and not just like, on a, well, I wanted to give up, or even a humorous level. Like, I think it speaks on so many levels, because first off, health should be an affirming experience. Becoming healthy should be an affirming experience. It should bring agency to your life. You should feel more in control of yourself, not shamed. I'm a big takeout coffee person. I love going and getting my coffees, and at dinners having people be like, "Oh, no, you don't want to do that." Same kind of attitude. It's like, well, yeah, I kind of think I fucking do. And then you feel like you can't claim yourself to be a health conscious person unless you're doing it in these certain ways, unless you have the same values, unless you're bothered by these behaviors. But because you're attached to them, it ends up feeling like your health is turned against you, and health is no longer simple. Your health is no longer simple. It's not your own. It's something that you have to act. It's something that you have to perform. It's something that you have to become rather than embody. And you can't embody something if it's not within you. Someone else's processes, someone else's values, someone else's, prioritization of habits or whatever. If it's not you and it's not coming from you, then it's really hard to generate it. It's really hard to keep that sustainable. And health is not simple. It is not attainable. It is not accessible, and it's not your own. So how can you expect yourself to maintain something in that paradigm? You know what I mean? So then people think, well, I'm not a health conscious person, or I don't care because it's like, I like that chocolate bar. I want that piece of cheesecake. And I guess I'm siding with sugar over health. I guess that means I'm not deserving of health or something like that. And it might not be, these words might not be too accurate, right? It might not be exactly what it's all about, but that's the impression it leaves. It leaves you feeling shamed and undeserving and out of control, unmotivated. Yeah, like you might as well give up. So then you just give up, and this sort of dichotomy is formed where unless you subscribe to these things, you're not health conscious, which means then you're the opposite of that. Which means what? You're lazy, not a thoughtful eater, not mindful, you're not health conscious, you don't care about your health, you're ignorant, you're unhealthy, your skin is bad, you're fat, you're a couch potato, you're more interested in binge watching whatever on Netflix all day. Does it have to be one or the other? Because in this way, becoming healthy and your process of becoming healthy and how your values will help you help you implement it, and also what it will implicate about the decisions you make in regard to your health, which ones are more important. Does it have to be one or the other? Because when it is, your process is taken from you, and then it can never quite be as joyful or last as long or be as healthy on as many levels as it could be if it was your own. So by subscribing to this, even falling into it accidentally, we end up resisting being health conscious because we think being health conscious means doing these certain things, which is against what our identity is. Bullshit. Health is your own. Health should come from you. Health should spring from you, I want to say. And I think underneath it all, and I don't quite know how to express this the way that I want to, but I very deeply feel that health is simple. Health is simple. Health is practical. Health is obvious. But when you're not in touch with these things and what they mean to you, these other people's heavy opinions about what it means to be healthy are going to outweigh your own. So you're turned against yourself. So I want to propose flipping the script here and thinking that by not doing these things, it's not that you're not healthy. You are healthy. How are you healthy? Go down that line. What actually matters to you in regard to your health? What are your health concerns? What things do you get joy out of? Why do you get joy out of them? What brings you a feeling of well-being? What motivates you to do the unhealthy things that you're doing? Because if it's because you feel shamed, that's an interesting thing to go down. Because if we want to flip the side to the enemy or the opposing side isn't the people who are uber health conscious and make you feel like, wow, they're striving for perfection and I don't even want to be. So what's the point of having that be my identity when I fail as soon as I try to identify as a health conscious person? Flip it so that the opposing side isn't those who maybe are health conscious in this way when you're here. think about the things that you're doing here that aren't actually coming from you either, that are also come from shame and habits and marketing ploys. So shaming from, like, you know, different companies and the money they pay for advertising and stuff, right? Think about how the foods that you eat are processed, that this isn't accidental. Like, the food that you are given is heavily processed. It is infused with way more sugar and fat and everything than is needed. And it is done consciously with research behind it, because these things are addictive, and that is being used against me. You can look at the health conscious, the uber conscious people, and feel how that is being used against you. It makes health work against you, and that makes you feel bad about yourself. Like, what's the point of being healthy? How sugar and salt and stuff are being used against you, how they work against you. And how a lot of the habits and things that you have aren't yours. They're not your identity. They come around to you because these are addictive substances. And to start viewing these things as addictive behaviors. And if this makes you feel shame about yourself, don't isolate yourself to thinking that this is a you problem, this is a willpower problem. This is just showing how these people are healthy and they know better, because I bet you they're not addicted to sugar. Bullshit. That's not what it's about at all. Humans have a long history and a relationship with sugar. It's always been addictive, always. You can read about these things and learn better how they work and why they work the way that they do. You realize that this isn't just something passive, oh, this is just me, this is what I like. It's you have happened upon these behaviors because of external aspects that you aren't aware of. And when you can learn about the way these things play with your biology and your mind and give you a high, it changes the way you look at them. It changes the ways that you use them. And that comes from you. And to me, that is truly healthy. It's coming from you. It's coming for you. It's coming forth from your values, from your goals. It's building on these things rather than tearing them down. And I think this is such an important place to start when it comes to your health and keeping it simple. Because when you're trying to enact and act within a certain dogma that doesn't mean anything to you, you just know, oh, this is health conscious, so I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that because that's going to make me healthier. But then there's no personal connection there, that really undermines the well-being that you can actually get from these things. You want your health to be an affirming experience. And these people who perhaps inadvertently are making you feel shame for your health or lack thereof, that is not an affirming experience. But the passive habits that you've acquired that aren't actually a part of who you are, that you could identify if you want to, they are not affirming experiences either. Sitting compulsively buying a coffee just because I'm out is not an affirming experience. Sitting and binging a Netflix series because I have been working all day and parenting and I'm burnt out is not an affirming experience. So often the simple act of drinking water is not an affirming experience. And I use these few as examples because they can all be affirming experiences. There are times I love just being able to veg and have like what feels like those Saturday or Sunday morning cartoon times as a child. That's that same feeling I have. There is no shame behind this. It's why are you coming to these behaviors? Where are they coming from? How are they serving you? Doing it every day is not an affirming experience. But that doesn't mean it can't be. It doesn't mean that you should never do those things, right? And this works for things like binging and eating chocolate or ice cream, considered unhealthy, and something like drinking water, which is incredibly, inherently healthy. Like, it's a fundamentally healthy thing to do. And I think that's where this well-being aspect comes into it, because it's not just health, which I think has more of a stringent definition perhaps, where well-being is, I feel like, more of a life energy. It's a life force. It's a joy that you have in your life. And if we want to look at it through those definitions, what is health without well-being? If there's no wellness, if there's no joy beneath the practices that you have in regard to your health, that undermines your health. There's no health without well-being. But there can be some well-being even with a lifestyle that could benefit from much more health and healthful habits. Do you know what I mean? There is no health without well-being, but there can be well-being without health. Obviously that leaves something to be desired, but I'm working through something here. There is no health without well-being, but there is well-being before health. How about that? Underneath health, there must be well-being as the foundation of it. Because it's like that person that I know who was working on that diet plan. When there's no well-being, when there's no joy beneath the behaviors mean nothing. They're obligatory, they are cold, they are exacting, they are not, I can't find the word, they're not personal. They're not bettering you. They're not bettering your relationship with yourself or with food. They're not joyful to eat. You don't feel a sense of satisfaction after the fact. There's no pride. There's no sense of satisfaction. It takes all the joy away. There needs to be joy in health. Because without that joy, health is not simple.